Happy New Year, friends, and welcome everybody to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and StreamYard.com today. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher and the Phenom Michael Bullock. Happy New Year, everyone. We hope you all had a great New Year's. That's why you didn't see us last night. You know, we took it off in observance of New Year's Day, but we are back tonight. And before we get to last night's first Monday Night Raw of 2024, day one, we have one other order of business that we need to get into. And that is, of course, the final, what ended up being the final pay-per-view event of 2023 that took place this past Saturday night. It was AEW World's End, and it was live from the Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale, Long Island, New York, on pay-per-view, Bleacher Report, and wherever else it was available. Of course, in those international markets also. We had 3 pre-show matches, and this is how they stacked up. First, we saw Willow Nightingale square off against Chris Statlander. Willow Nightingale winning the match, 13 minutes and 25 seconds. Of course, per our normal, well, we do not address pre-show matches. The next was a 20-man battle royale to earn a shot at the TNT Championship anytime, anywhere. Almost kind of like the Money in the Bank briefcase, if you really think about it. Notable competitors included Danhausen, Brian Keith, Matt Menard, Angelo Parker, Lance Archer, Dalton Castle, and many more. But at the end of the end of the match, there it was Killswitch, aka Luchasaurus, or as MF and I really best known, Fibona from Lucha Underground. He went on to win the Battle Royale, 13 minutes and 50 seconds the time of that fall. And then in the third and final pre-show match, it was Hook defending the FTW Championship in an FTW rules match against Wheeler Yuta. And the winner of that match, 10 minutes and 20 seconds, and still the FTW champion, it was Hook. So with that, we move on to the first match of the main card. A Continental Classic special, if you really think about it. 8-man tag team action. You can consider this like an all-star game type thing. On one side, you had Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, Mark Briscoe, and Daniel Garcia squaring off against Brody King, Switchblade Jay Wright, El Toro Blanco Rush, and Jay Lethal. And the winners of the match, in 17 minutes and 50 seconds, Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, Mark Briscoe, and Daniel Garcia. It was Daniel Garcia with a pinning combination over Jay Lethal. So everyone looked good, but Daniel Garcia was the star of this match. The crowd and the announcers all seemed to come alive a bit more when he was in the ring. And after an exciting final sequence, Garcia picked up the win for his team by pinning Jay Lethal. I'm not going to go into any further detail because we got quite a bit to get into in order to, save time. So don't want to waste too much of it. So that's pretty much all I can say on that. If pressed, I would give this somewhere in excess of 3.5 to 4 to start. So not much more to say on this. So MF, come on in. Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, Mark Briscoe, Daniel Garcia winning this 8-man tag team matchup, 17 minutes and 50 seconds to jumpstart the main card of World's End.
Yeah, no, this was a solid opener. This was a very good matchup. And like you said, this was everything that it needed it to be. It was kind of more of a just a little 8-man tag with all the teams that were with all the participants of the tournament. It was a good showcase for everybody. Everybody had ample time. Everybody had a great opportunity. Not surprised on who won the match. It was still a solid opener. 3.5 stars for me. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, 3.5 to 4 for me on this one. A solid way to start it off. I mean, no surprise that team of Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, Mark Briscoe, and Daniel Garcia winning it. So the right team definitely went over here. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So let's move on, Florio.
All right, next match, and this one was personal. as it was squaring off against Andrade El Idolo. CJ Perry, of course, in the corner of Andrade. Winner of the match in 14 minutes and 45 seconds. It was Miro, and CJ Perry was the difference maker in this match. And she turned on Andrade and assisted her husband Miro in scoring the win in 14:45. So, MF, earlier today, if you saw it on social media, Andrade, posted his farewell message to AEW. So Andrade, obviously, he's now finished. He's pretty much now finished with AEW, and there's no question about it. Soon enough, he will be WWE bound once again.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And not only that, but let's just say a certain someone also took notice to that goodbye message and kind of try to parlay into something. No, not Charlotte Flair, if that's what you guys were thinking. No, it wasn't Charlotte. It was actually Zelina Vega. She mentioned it and talked about maybe something coming down the pipeline, that maybe it's time for La Sangra to come home. And is it possible Andrade Cien Almas and Zelina Vega reunited together again on SmackDown Live? New Year's Revolution's this Friday night. Can they get the deal done? He is a free agent. He can go wherever he wants right now. Can they do it? Can they pull this off? Could we get another massive surprise? We got a massive one last night. We'll get into that for on the Raw end. But as far as the match goes, this was a good match. I just didn't understand the logic of the ending. I think that's the only thing. For the longest time, Miro forsaken everything. Didn't have a god. Did not want nothing to do with his wife, CJ. Yet, CJ's like, you know what? I'm here because I want to be on my own. I want to manage. I want to, give my expertise, this and that. She tried to work with Action Andretti, and we all saw how that played out. However, when she got with Andrade El Idolo, you notice it started to work. The partnership was working. It was very good. It was very strong. Now, maybe because of the fact that the contract was running out, they had to do this, because if the contract did not run out, I am wondering if this would have been a completely different outcome with Andrade going over on Miro, that the swerve or the betrayal would not happen. I think the only reason why it had to happen was because the contract ran out. And by all intents and purposes, he's gone. He's not going back to AEW. And now he is very likely heading back to WWE. And let me say it. If he goes back to WWE on SmackDown Live, this is the right time and the perfect time for Andrade Cien Almas to make his return to WWE under this new leadership with Triple H. And Hunter loves Andrade. That's why he was so confident in putting him as the NXT champion, and was a very good champion as well. So I wonder if the third generation of La Sangra is coming back. Andrade Cien Almas. Is El Idolo coming to WWE, and more importantly back to SmackDown? Because if we hear that music and we see him coming down with Zelina Vega, yelling him in his ear, firing him up. And oh, by the way, everybody was wondering what she was firing or motivating him about. One of my favorite things in the whole wide world, pancakes. She was actually talking about pancakes, and it was a funny interview she had recently. And they were talking about it. They're like, hey, what were you talking about to Andrade? What were you saying to him? She's like, oh, man, I was talking about food. I was firing him up about pancakes and all this other stuff. We were talking, and I was yelling it in Spanish about him. So it was a funny little thing. But I'm like, God damn, really? It's about that? Okay. You made me, you're even more sexier now than ever before, Zelina Vega. And that's why I probably love you a lot. Damn. Because I like my pancakes. Shit. I mean, I don't know what to even say on after that. But yeah, this was a good match. This was a good fight. Like I said, I'm a little disappointed with the ending, but it does make logical sense. If hindsight is 2020, this was a good booking decision and a good booking outcome. I don't know if fans were very receptive at the beginning until we found out that, oh, Andrade's contract ran out. All right, it does make sense. Nothing more to say, Michael Bullock. It's yours.
What did you give it for a rating, Fletch?
3.5.
All right, just wanted to make sure on that. Yeah, I can go with that. 3.5 stars as well. I mean, I just didn't like the ending as well, but it does make sense because, like you said, with Andrade's contract up, I mean, you had to find some way to when it comes to this. I mean, now, like you said, if Andrade didn't, if his contract wasn't up, I'm sure they would have had him go over. But yeah, so good match. Just didn't like the ending. 3.5 stars. It's yours, Florio.
To follow up on what MF was saying, first off, yes, MF, I 100% agree with you about the pancakes there. I mean, give me a stack of buttermilk ones, and I'm a happy guy, no doubt about that.
Amen to that, brother. Amen to that. Lego My Ego, or I got this new Walmart brand I've been having lately. They're magnifique.
IHOP, yeah. I mean, that's a place where I think we should have a future one of our outings, whether it's a boys' night out or a group outing in the future.
I would probably say that's more like a brunch more than anything else. We could probably go down and do that like around like 12 in the afternoon on a weekday, on a day.
We actually did one in the evening once before. I remember that.
All right, I guess.
Why
I'm
not?
not really, I never remember an IHOP at night unless it's like, unless
like
you got
years
like the
ago.
case of the munchies after like a late night.
It was a number of years ago. I remember we had a boys' night out there once, and I ordered a stack of buttermilk, baby. Oh yeah, and they were delicious. Let me tell you. And speaking of sexy, CJ Perry, wow, yowza. That's all I can say. I mean, the words "Hello, Catwoman" came to my mind. I got that from a little funny bit from an old show that MF and I used to watch. I'll explain it in our chat maybe in a minute. But nonetheless, all kidding aside, this was 3.25, 3.5. This match had a much slower pace than everything else we had seen up until that point. It felt a bit lackluster as a result. Everything they did looked good and they sold big moves well, but there was no sense of urgency unless they were literally screaming in each other's face. The second half of the match was much better than the first, but you could tell there was a disconnect with the crowd, possibly due to, at the time, the rumors of El Idolo leaving AEW. Both men survived long periods in submission holds, but CJ Perry ended up turning on Andrade and helping Miro break out of the figure eight, and that paved the way for Miro to lock in the game over, aka the accolade for the submission win. So Andrade back on SmackDown and reunited with Zelina Vega. Sign me up. I would love to see it. And who knows, maybe as early as Friday night in Vancouver, British Columbia, as part of that New Year's Revolution edition of SmackDown, it could happen. Maybe he, who knows, maybe he could be a part of the LWO. Maybe he could fill the void of Santos Escobar. Who knows? So, boy, howdy, Andrade and Escobar down the road, sign us up. That's all I can say. But let's wait until Friday night. Let's read into that what we will. So with all that being said, let's move on to our next matchup. The first of our several title matches, and we had several title matches on this show. AEW Women's Championship on the line. The champion, Toni Storm, with her butler, Luther, squaring off against the inaugural AEW Women's Champion, Riho. Winner of the match, 11 minutes and 40 seconds, and still the AEW Women's Champion. It is the timeless one, Toni Storm. Michael Bullock, once again, predictable outcome. Let's be realistic. We all knew Toni Storm was going to go over here. No big surprise she did.
Yeah, I think this definitely comes as no surprise that she was going to go over here. What was the time again?
Oh, my apologies. 11 minutes and 40 seconds.
All right. Wasn't quite sure if you got it or not, but yeah. I'll give this about maybe an even 3 stars. It definitely could have been better on some in some parts of it, but all in all, I mean, it wasn't all that bad. So yeah, not gonna really get that much into it. So it is yours, Florio.
About 3 1/4. That's the best I can give it here. Previous bout, this one got better as it went on. Riho is a great underdog character, and Toni Storm has been brilliant as a tweener. The crowd was behind both competitors, but Toni Storm ended up retaining with what looked like a very awkward modified DDT, almost like a Storm Zero or something. And then Mariah May came out and threw rose petals all over the ring for Toni Storm to celebrate. And oh, by the way, speaking of Mariah May, tomorrow night on the first AEW Dynamite of 2024, Mariah May is going to make her in-ring debut. And she's going to be squaring off against Queen Aminata. So we will most certainly address that tomorrow night on Wednesday Night Madness. But nonetheless, and let me tell you, I've seen this young lady wrestle. I mean, I saw some independent footage of her, when she was wrestling for some promotion over in her native England, and she looked good. And you're going to be in for a treat when you see her compete tomorrow night. So just a little warning there. So 3 1/4 for me. So not much more to say here. MF, Toni Storm successfully defending the AEW Women's Championship against Riho, 11 minutes, 40 seconds. And MF, as I give it to you, question now is, who's next for the timeless one?
I mean, you got many challengers. I mean, there's still many that are out there. There is one that's being rumored that it could be. If the rumors are correct and that it is accurate, it could be somebody that we thought was going to be going to WWE, and now it looks like she might be heading to AEW after all. The contract negotiation fell through, supposedly, and this is from a rumor that there's a 5-year, $25 million deal on the table for this particular superstar that wanted it to be the highest paid in women's wrestling. I think this would be the highest and biggest contract yet. Obviously, we don't know what the particulars are for Charlotte Flair's contract, but we know this person wanted more than what Charlotte was getting, and 5 for 25 seems like that might be the biggest contract yet. I know there's some people that wanted her back in WWE, does not want her in AEW, but if money talks, then this might be the best deal. I don't know. We'll see if this is officially true or not. we'll have to wait and see. But there is a 5-year, $25 million deal on the table, according to a couple of sources that I know, for this one particular wrestler that, if she does sign it, could instantly become a major threat for the AEW Women's title, and would be a major threat for the timeless one, Toni Storm. So we'll have to wait and see if it does happen. Possibly tomorrow night we see it. We don't know, but whatever the case may be, yeah, this is about a 3-star bout, and I'll just table it here. If that said person shows up tomorrow, then we'll elaborate on who I'm talking about. I'd rather not reveal it.
Good idea.
Until it's official. So let's leave it like that.
Exactly. And I know if the roles were reversed, you would have said the exact same thing to me if I brought it up, and I would have respected those wishes. So that's another read into it what you will.
Exactly. And like I said, this is from a pretty reliable source.
Right.
So it's not like it's dirt sheets or anything else. But like I said, it was an offer. It's not official. I cannot confirm that this person has signed. All I can say is that Tony Khan offered this wrestler, this is the amount we've been told. This is the amount of the length of the years we've been told. Well, again, we don't know Charlotte Flair's contract, so we don't know where her money, how much she's making, or how long her contract is. But we do know in wrestling, it's normally a 3 to 5 year buffer. This sounds like this definitely is within that realm. But again, we don't know for sure where, what we're looking at yet.
Okay. All right. We'll definitely keep an eye on it tomorrow night. But let's move on to the next match. As originally, this was supposed to be Swerve Strickland versus Keith Lee. However, due to not being medically cleared, Keith Lee was unable to compete at World's End. So stepping in his place, his most recent tag team partner, the legendary natural Dustin Rhodes. So it was Swerve Strickland versus Dustin Rhodes. Swerve Strickland wins the match, 9.5 minutes. This ended up being anticlimactic filler that lasted longer than necessary. The outcome was predictable, and the way everything was set up led to a mediocre outing, especially compared to what we know these guys can do together. The last couple of minutes regained some of the crowd with some trash talking and taunting, but it didn't make much of a difference. Strickland scored the win with the double stomp. I'm not really going to waste too much time on this one. 2.5 to 3 stars. That's the best I can go. So, MF, your thoughts? Swerve Strickland defeating Dustin Rhodes, 9.5 minutes. Anticlimactic filler that went a little bit longer than necessary, if I'm being honest.
2.5. Yeah, you could even make an argument, maybe worst fight of the night. Even though there wasn't anything bad, but like you said, it was anticlimactic. It didn't serve its purpose. I don't know if a lot of people were really high on another Keith Lee Swerve Strickland match because of how good Swerve Strickland was. And I think a lot of people were more disappointed that he actually was not in the Continental Classic final. I think a lot of people kind of harbored a lot of ill will because of that. Because a lot of people feel like you literally stunted his momentum. Fair or not, I don't know, but that is one of the things I've been hearing lately. So it is what it is. Fine. It was fine for what it was worth. Yes. Am I disappointed with the outcome? Yes, but it is what it is. So 2 to 2.5, bullet go.
Yeah, 2.5 for me as well. So yeah, I'm not going to get really too much into it. So let's move on forward.
We had another 8-man tag team matchup. Sting Darby Allin, Chris Jericho, and Sammy Guevara squaring off against the AEW World Tag Team Champions Ricky Starks and Big Bill, along with two members of the Don Callis family, Powerhouse Hobbs and Konosuke Takeshita, and the babyface team, Sting, Darby Allin, Chris Jericho, and Sammy Guevara win the match in 15 minutes and 40 seconds. MF, I've read a lot of the reviews on social media, and a lot of them poo-pooed this match, and rightfully so.
Yeah, no, this was too formulaic. Too, like, the crowd tried to hijack that match, which, you know, I'm not going to get into the negativity with the rumors that's surrounding Chris Jericho over the stuff that's been happening during the week. He's been, go ahead. Well, like, why don't you take this? I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah.
This was the 8-man tag team match, Bullock. Just wanted to make sure that you're in the loop here.
I heard it.
Okay. And the time of the fall was 15 minutes and 40 seconds.
Yeah, I heard the same thing too, Florio, and yeah, they poo-pooed all over this, and quite frankly, I don't blame them. I mean, they were hijacking the match, the fans were, and they were all over Chris Jericho because of the whole sexual misconduct or whatever it is with Kylie Ray, and there were signs of NDA or Jericho away. I mean, so many things. I mean, they were booing Chris Jericho throughout this. I mean, and the one person I feel really bad for, Florio, is Sting, because this is his last match in New York, which is where the event was, and he's going to be remembered for being booed because he was part of a team where his partner was part of sexual allegations. And quite frankly, it upsets me. And to me, Sting deserves way better than this. I mean, this is an absolute legend. And his last match in New York is going to be remembered for this. No, I'm sorry. I can't stand for it. And Florio, I mean, when allegations like this happen, doesn't whoever's in charge of it basically say, look, these allegations, you can't be part of the show because we need to look more into this. But for some stupid reason, he still lets Chris Jericho be part of the show.
If it was me let's be realistic. If it was any of us, let's be realistic. We would the three of us combined have way better creative minds than Mr. Tony Khan does. And
because we would have said, sorry, Jericho. I mean, until we get further into this, until we get more information,
we're putting you on administrative leave. That's what we're doing.
But for some stupid ass reason, Tony Khan said, no, you're still going to be part of the show. And that is why the fans hijacked the show. So,
and I'm absolutely not defending, and I'm not defending Tony Khan whatsoever when I say this, but it's only because it was advertised, and you didn't want to, you didn't want to be guilty of, you didn't want to be called out for false advertising, and you can from that standpoint. But at the same time, I 100% agree with you. Chris Jericho had no business being a part of this match. They should have put him on some sort of, administrative leave, and then only bring him back, once this whole mess gets cleaned up and resolved, which I hope it gets resolved, with as positive of an outcome as possible. Because let me tell you something, friends, sexual misconduct is very, very serious. That's a fireable offense if you really think about it.
Yeah, and first, I get what you're saying, that he didn't want to, but the thing is, this thing is so serious. I would have, like you said, I would have put him on administrative leave until this whole investigation is over. And for Tony Khan to basically say, we're still gonna have him part of the show. No, I don't like it one bit. And this isn't the first thing I'm gonna be calling Tony Khan out on.
Trust me, get in line. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
This was one of those couple of things that we unfortunately have to refer to Tony Khan as Tony Khan Man here.
Yeah. This first part was he was Tony Khan Man for this one. Oh, for the other one, watch out. I mean, I'm about to unleash hell on this guy.
And well deserved too. So what's your rating for this match?
Because of the way this was, I'm sorry, I can only give this 2.5 stars.
Oh, I'm right there with you. I'm actually going to give it 2 to 2.5, and I'll even go as far as to call this the worst fight of the night. If I'm going to be honest with you, I mean,
and damn it to hell, I mean, Sting doesn't deserve this.
No, Sting, a living legend who's already inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, went in and headlined the class of 2016 as part of WrestleMania 32.
And this is his farewell. This is his farewell tour.
New York State. Yeah. And this is how he's going to be remembered for it? No. Let me tell you something. I grew up as Sting was one of my favorites when I first started watching wrestling when I was a little kid. And Sting has always been a heroic, has always been someone that I grew up, as a big fan of. Not just because of his in-ring work, but also because of the man he is outside of the ring. He's a no-nonsense guy. He's a man of the Lord like I am. And
this guy deserves
a hard-working man, and someone who's given 35 or so years of his life to this business, and his last match in New York State's going to go down like this. Get the you-know-what out of here with that BS, please. But MF, before I get to you, let me give you my thoughts since Bullock already took it. This show had its ups and downs, but you could tell the vibe in the arena was different for this bout. Every time Chris Jericho was in the ring, you could hear fans reacting negatively. We're not going to go into too much further detail about why here, but you can easily find out why Chris Jericho was trending on social media. To give a brief synopsis, the match was exactly what you would expect it to be. The heels beat up on Darby Allin for a long time until Sting got the hot tag. It had some fun spots, but several awkward moments stalled the match's momentum. Sammy Guevara scored the win for his team with a pin over Ricky Starks. So, not much more to say on this. It's obvious that the plan right now is to have Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho possibly be the next challengers for Ricky Starks and Big Bill. To be honest, that's what they should have done here. They should have made this a tag team championship matchup with Jericho and Guevara going up against Starks and Big Bill, because who knows how long Kenny Omega is going to be out, because diverticulitis, I ain't no doctor, and I damn sure don't play one on television. But from what I know about diverticulitis, it's very serious. And who knows how long Kenny Omega is going to be out for. He's going to be out indefinitely. There's no question about that. And we definitely send our continued prayers and well wishes to the cleaner. And hopefully they'll get that cleaned out of him, and then he'll come back better than ever. So that's all we can say on this. This was 2 to 2.5. And for me personally, this was the worst fight of the night. So I could go as far as to call this a dud if I wanted to, but I'm going to be a little generous on this one. So there isn't much more for me to say. MF, if you're all set and squared away, let's get your thoughts on this one.
Like you said, Anthony, I think the way that the match went, it was brutally disappointing. I don't think there's really not much more for us to talk about on this one. As far as like the Chris Jericho thing, I think we are best. I think we're best equipped not to talk about it right now until obviously all the facts come out and everything else. But I will say that it does, like, if you think about it, it does not look good for him. But at the end of the day, we'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. But yeah, I mean, definitely major problema for if it's all true. That's if it's all true. So I'm not gonna shed any more light to it. Anthony, let's just move right on along.
All right, I'm at very well. Move on to our next matchup. TBS Championship on the line. The champion Julia Hart defending against Abaddon. Winner of the match, 11 minutes and 55 seconds, and still the TBS champion. It is Julia Hart. Maybe I should take this one since Bullock somewhat led off on that last one because MF had to step away for that brief moment. So I guess I'll, start it off to get the rotation back going here. This match was focused on telling a story more than fitting as many spots in as possible. Both competitors did a good job playing to their characters' strengths, but there were long periods of slow progression that kept us from being as good as it could have been. A faster pace would have served them well, but this was still a good performance. It just wasn't what a lot of fans were expecting. Sky Blue showed up and knocked Abaddon off the top rope, but it didn't have the desired effect. Abaddon pulled her out from under the ring, started beating her up. That distraction allowed Julia Hart to score the win with a moonsault. I'd give it about 3.25. So that's all I can say on that. So nothing more for me to say. MF, Julia Hart successfully defending the TBS championship against Abaddon, 11 minutes and 55 seconds.
Yeah, solid 3. I don't think there's really much for us to talk about. You even talked about everything that went down, and I just feel like right now it was fine for what it was worth, but I wouldn't say it was the greatest thing I've ever seen. It was very formulaic. It was very simple. There wasn't really much to it. So yes, Julia Hart keeps the title. Good for her. And Michael Bullock gets back to you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give it about 3 stars as well. I mean, it was all right. I mean, it really wasn't that special. I mean, or that much to write home about. So yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. So let's move on.
All right, and then Matt will be leading off on our next match. Now we get into the main events here, boys. No disqualification match for the TNT Championship. The champion, Christian Cage, with Nick Wayne and Mother Wayne defending against Adam Copeland in a return match from the TNT Championship match they had on AEW Dynamite last month in Montreal. Winner of the match, initially, in roughly an even 25 minutes, and new TNT champion, the Rated R superstar Adam Copeland. But wait, hold the phone. Killswitch comes out, attacks Adam Copeland, pulls out the contract that he won in that Battle Royale during the 0 Hour pre-show. He was about to cash it in. Christian Cage comes in and has that almost Ted DiBiase, Virgil-like influence, and demanded that Luchasaurus, Killswitch, Fibata, whatever you want to call him, hand him that contract that he rightfully earned by winning that Battle Royale. He gives it to Christian. Christian signs that contract, cashes it in, and then the match gets restarted, and then in 11 seconds, Christian Cage, once again, the TNT champion. MF, I'm just going to say it like this right here and now. It's a good thing you're leading off on this because, Michael, I'm going to tell you right now, Michael Bullock and I have had chats about this, well, especially during our Raw chat last night. I'm going to tell you right now, Bullock is about to unleash hell. But your thought, what do you make about all this craziness, this nonsensical Tony Khan man booking here?
That, you know what? I'm going to say I get it. It works for the character. If you're Christian Cage, that is a brilliant move to do. If you're Luchasaurus, you hold that You think about that in the back of your mind, and you know eventually he will blow up and Luchasaurus will turn on Christian Cage. It's not a matter of if, it's only going to be a matter of when he's going to do it. If you're AEW, you sucked the life out of what was a great moment to pull of a Bush League decision, which only helps Christian. It gives him nuclear heat. It prolongs the story. However, at what expense did you do this? At what expense have you done in order to do that move? Have you jeopardized the momentum of Adam Copeland by literally making him a transitional champion? Does it hurt him in the long term that you did this move? Because that's going to be the $1 million question now, is what is the ramifications going to be? You know, you can easily say, well, Copeland is now a former champion. You can easily run this back. But does the fans want a Copeland versus Christian 3 now? Especially after that. So, I think the booking was horrible. I think the result was absolutely ridiculous. But I get what AEW is trying to do. And in the hindsight of 2020, I'll give them a little bit of a pass, but I'm not giving them a big time pass. Because Adam Copeland deserved that moment. You could have played that at another show. You could have done that at Dynamite tomorrow night. You should let Adam have that moment. He deserved to be the TNT champion. And for him to lose it in a matter of 11 seconds, I don't know. I think that might have been a big mistake. Because, like I said, you sucked the life out of the crowd. You could tell the crowd didn't buy that moment. Obviously, you two did not buy that moment. And a lot of my guys, my friends on Discord, was not happy about that. They thought that was a horrific booking decision. So, like I said, you're going to have to be very... You got to make the payoff down the line. So we'll see. But, yeah, I totally agree with your sentiment, guys. If you guys were angry, I am right there with you. So I got nothing else to add. So, Michael Bullock, it's all yours. It was going to be fight of the night until the ending. And then the restart basically took it from maybe 4.5 to 5 to just a straight 4. So I don't know what else there is to say. So, Bullock, it's yours.
Okay. Tony Khan, will you please explain to us how in the world can you book something like this? I mean, this is one of the most horrible booking decisions I have ever seen in a long freaking time. I mean, you had such a great match going. I was ready to give it 4.5, teetering on 5, until you pulled the freaking rug out of underneath us. And I mean, Luchasaurus, Kill Switch, I mean, he was going to cash in on it, and then you had him give the contract to Christian Cage for him to regain the title. I mean, if you were going to make it, easy, keep the title on Christian Cage. I would have understood it. But now you just made Adam Copeland look like a total doofus with this. I mean, to me, nobody gains anything out of this. I mean, this is just... I mean, this is just absolutely horrible. Tony Khan and AEW should be ashamed of themselves for this. I mean, I mean, what is it? Is Vince McMahon back there somewhere running the controls there? Because I don't know. I mean, this is just absolutely horrific. I mean, this was such a great match, and then you go and pull that nonsense. Shame on you, AEW. And I don't want to hear any freaking AEW marks come out and defend Tony Khan for this, because if you do, you're nothing more but a complete and utter douchebag. So, yeah, if you try to defend this, you're just a complete and utter idiot. I'm done. I'm done with this crap. 3.5 stars. So, yeah, I'm hitting them below the belt on this one. 4 stars, I think that's being a little generous. 3.5 for me is the right rating. I'm done with this crap. It's yours, Florio.
I'm sorry, MF. I'm with Bullock here. 3.5 for me too. Oh my word. All right. This was not a wrestling match. It was a fight. They weren't going for hip tosses or headlocks. This was all about inflicting as much pain as possible. And the crowd wanted fire. Christian Cage delivered it when he set a table ablaze. But I think there was a little bit of a botch with that. But I'll say it like this. The match itself was great, but the post-match stuff is beyond debatable. It feels like AEW does not want to push Kill Switch, but recognizes his talents. So he ends up being used to get other people over instead of getting his own push. And MF, the scenario that MF dropped, I like that idea. Why couldn't you just let Adam have the moment? And then if you wanted to pull all that nonsense that you pulled on Saturday night, tomorrow night on Dynamite, then that would have been okay. Then it would have made more sense. But to do it on the exact same night, that bait and switch, hell, you could call this a dusty finish if you really wanted to. But what a damn shame. I mean, MF is absolutely right. I mean, if it wasn't for this ridiculousness, it would have been 4.5 to 5 in the fight of the night very easily. But then after what happened here, no. Michael Bullock is absolutely correct on this one. It's a 3.5 star rating. And I think we're being generous with that, to be honest with you, because I've got every right to, really hit him below the belt if I wanted to. That's how hyped I am right now. But
yeah, I mean, I would have given this only 2.5 stars.
But we're going to be generous because the match was too good. So that's the only saving grace.
Yeah, it was too good. So 3.5 is the right rating. If I was really harsh, I would have only given it 2.5. But because it was so good, 3.5 is the correct rating.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. So, all right, the finals. Next up, the next match was the finals of the Continental Classic Tournament to become the first Triple Crown champion, Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship, New Japan Strong Openweight Championship, and the newly created Continental Classic Continental Championship belt. Blue League champion Eddie Kingston squaring off against Gold League champion Jon Moxley. And the winner of the match, 17 minutes and 20 seconds, and the winner of the inaugural AEW Continental Classic and the first AEW Triple Crown champion, the Mad King, Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston wins it, 17 minutes and 20 seconds. Michael Bullock, I'm sure this had to make up for the ridiculous booking of the match prior to this one. At least we got a deserving winner, a deserving champion. Say what you want about him. I know he's got his haters out there, and I understand it. But at the same time, what a special moment for Eddie Kingston. I mean, beating Claudio for the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship at the Grand Slam in September, that was one thing. But this now will always and forever be the biggest win of his AEW and professional wrestling career, unless, God forbid, they give him the world heavyweight title in the future.
Yeah, what a moment for Eddie Kingston, and this definitely makes up for what we saw previously. I mean, what a match this was. I'll give this about 4.25 on this one. I mean, this was just so good. And good for Eddie Kingston. I know he's got his haters out there, but how could you hate him after putting on a performance like that? So, yeah, 4.25 for me on this one. So it's yours, Florio.
I'm not surprised about this outcome. I mean, in New York, I mean, that's all you need to know right there. Special moment for Eddie Kingston, no question about it. Bryan Danielson actually sat in on commentary for this match. I was a little bit worried that Bryan Danielson was going to stick his nose in this. I'm glad he didn't. I'll say it like this. There was nothing pretty about this match. They used plenty of traditional wrestling maneuvers, but the way they did them was dirty and violent in the best possible way. Both of these men bring legitimacy to the ring, so whenever they face each other, it feels special. After a brutal exchange of stiff strikes, the Mad King defeated Jon Moxley with the spinning back fist to get the win and become the first modern Triple Crown champion. He celebrated with all 3 title belts as the crowd gave him a standing ovation. Eddie Kingston accomplished all of his goals in 2023, and it was an incredible ride. And then Jon Moxley embraced his friend before leaving him to celebrate. Great moment there. And, man, what a year for Eddie Kingston. He defeats, I mean, look what he's done in the last few months. Winning the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship from someone that I think he despises more than anybody in the wrestling business, that being Claudio Castagnoli at Dynamite Grand Slam, winning that. And then just to get to the finals just to get to this match, winning the Blue League and beating another guy that he had never beaten, that being Bryan Danielson. The body of work of Bryan Danielson, everything he did, whether it was in Ring of Honor, WWE. And I know he hasn't had that big championship moment in AEW yet, but still, you beat a guy like Bryan Danielson, you did something. But this is definitely the biggest of them all, because let's be realistic. Jon Moxley has been the face of this company for the last 3 or 4 years. He will go down as one of the greatest, if not the greatest, AEW World Heavyweight Champion of all time. He's won it more than anybody. Dominated 2022. Had another great year in 2023, and for him to do the honors for Eddie Kingston and give him his flowers here, I mean, how can you not respect Jon Moxley for that? And special moment for Eddie. He definitely deserves it. And I had a feeling that once he got to this match, I said it to myself, I know it's Jon Moxley and the whole nine, but at the end of the day, going into this, I had that feeling that Eddie Kingston was going to walk away with it, and sure enough, he did. And boy, howdy, he deserves it. So congratulations, Eddie Kingston, the modern Triple Crown champion. He's still the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion, still the New Japan Strong Openweight Champion, and now the first ever AEW Continental Champion. So special moment indeed, well-deserved, and that's all there is to say on it. I'm right there with Bullock's rating, 4 to 4.25, 100% agree, so not much more to say. MF, you know Eddie Kingston a lot better than Bullock and I do, and you know his journey. You know what he's been through in his career. There's no question about it. 2023 will forever be the greatest year of Eddie Kingston's career after those big 3 things that I mentioned that he did.
This was the year of the Mad King. You said it. You can even make an argument that he may have just solidified himself as one of the top guys in AEW today. I'm happy for Eddie. He deserves the moment. He deserves this win. There's really nothing to add here. This was a solid match, a great battle, great fight for, at least in my eyes. And he deserves all the love, all of the respect, all the admiration he's getting. So for me, Eddie Kingston is the most deserving champion here. And he did something that I don't think a lot of us thought he was going to do, but he did it. So hats off to Eddie Kingston. All hail the new champ, the new champion, as we like to say. And as the immortal words of Gorilla Monsoon and Anthony, I know you've been waiting for this one all night.
Yes.
History made, unprecedented crowning with the Mad King, now the champion of the world.
Yes, sir. And now, gentlemen, we move on to the main event of the evening for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. The champion, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF, and surprise, Adam Cole. Adam Cole comes out to be in the corner of MJF. MJF defending the AEW World Heavyweight Championship against Samoa Joe. Winner of the match in 17 minutes and 50 seconds. And new AEW World Heavyweight Champion, the Samoan submission machine, Samoa Joe. And he did it the only way he could. With the Coquita clutch. Ain't that right on that bullet? The Coquita clutch. So.
You are correct, my friend.
Our favorite submission move. So. All right. All right. Let's see. All right. The main event of the night was the AEW World Heavyweight Championship match between MJF and Samoa Joe. Not only is MJF legitimately injured, but AEW put him through the ringer in this storyline. So he was coming into this match at a huge disadvantage. Much to the surprise of everyone, that Coquita clutch, that's how the match ended. The ref checked on Max and he was out. So the bell rang and Samoa Joe was crowned the new AEW World Heavyweight Champion. As great as this match was, the ending felt strange. Adam Cole tried to comfort Max after Joe was gone. The crowd chanted BS until the Devil's Masked Men show up. They attacked Max and held Adam Cole, so he had to watch. Cole and MJF both begged to be hit instead of the other. And then the lights dropped. And then the lights came back on to reveal Adam Cole sitting on a chair looking at Max. And who unmasked behind him? Wardlow, Roderick Strong, and the new Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, Mike Bennett and Matt Taven, the Kingdom. MJF looked heartbroken and asked how Adam Cole could do this to him before everyone attacked. The show ended with Adam Cole and his crew standing tall. The main event was mostly fantastic, but what came after is up for debate. This was 4 stars for me, solid 4. I was going to give it 4 1/4, but that ending did feel a little flat, but nonetheless, a great moment for Samoa Joe. And I heard and a lot of people were asking, it's because Max was hurt, right? No, they said even if MJF was not hurt, the plan was always for Samoa Joe to win the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. And here's another guy who deserves it. I mean, here's a guy who did not get at least one world championship run in WWE when he clearly should have, but he did not. Should have, but he didn't. But now he's finally got it. And this is his most significant World Heavyweight Championship victory since the 2008 TNA Lockdown pay-per-view in Lowell, Mass, when he won the TNA Heavyweight Championship from Kurt Angle in one of the greatest 6 sides of steel matches you will ever see. MF and I could tell you stories upon days about that one. But
yes.
But nonetheless, Samoa Joe's the champion, and Adam Cole was revealed as the devil. And all I can say is no big surprise. I kind of had a feeling this was coming. I mean, they baited us. They got us hook, line, and sinker. And we'll see if he ends up, addressing this tomorrow night on AEW Dynamite. But for right now, it's a 4-star match. So not much more to say. MF, your boy, Samoa Joe, the new AEW World Heavyweight Champion. But look at this super faction here. Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, Mike Bennett, Matt Taven, and Wardlow. Who in the hell's going to beat that super faction?
Yeah, no, good luck with that one, y'all. Look, I'm happy with the history being made. I'm happy with the crowning of the new champions. Well deserved. I just feel like Max should have gotten better than what he got. I think he got raw dealed on this one, but I'm not too mad about the outcome. Like I said, I'm happy he won the title, and I think he's deserving of being the champion. I just feel like it could have been handled in a different way, but I'm not. Again, it's an apple to oranges type situation. But I am happy that we do have history being made and a new champion. Look, you can say whatever you want to say, but I think Samoa Joe is the most deserving AEW champion. So he never got an opportunity back then. He's got it now. I'm happy with it. Really nothing more to say, Michael Bullock. It's all yours. This was easily a 3.5 to 4-star fight.
Yeah, 4 stars for me. I mean, this was definitely. I mean, it was a good match. I mean, yeah, it could have been 4.25, but because of what we saw, but it was still a good match. But yeah, this new faction, especially now with Adam Cole being revealed as the Devil, and with Roderick Strong, Matt Taven, Mike Bennett, and Wardlow. Good luck to anybody to try to challenge that faction because they're going to be impossible to deal with. So hopefully we'll get an explanation tomorrow night on Dynamite. So 4 stars. So quickly, Flora, let's get into our overall thoughts.
Overall thoughts, good old MF Michael Fletcher, AEW World's End. Did it end 2023 with a whimper or a bang?
It was a mixed bag. It felt like there was some moments that definitely was whimper, but there was also some moments where it was actually really good. I gotta give it 7 out of 10 because there's a few moments on that show that really still bothers me to no end. So I can't really say that it was the greatest thing in the world, but it was serviceable for what it was worth. So I'll say that. 7 out of 10. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
I'll give this 6.5 to 7. I mean, it was still good, but I mean, you had some good moments, but there were some things that really rubbed me the wrong way too. So I already told you some of it, so not gonna really get into all of it. So it's yours, Florio.
Yes, I'm right there with you guys. This pay-per-view had a couple of really great matches and moments, but when compared to every other major event AEW has held, this one might be considered one of the worst. It was not a bad show, but there were so many things that felt overbooked, mediocre, or just plain wrong, that it was hard to stay invested throughout the entire thing. Eddie Kingston winning was the biggest highlight of the night, but Christian Cage and Adam Copeland probably came in a close second. The twist with Killswitch giving Christian his TNT title shot so he could win back his title is something that could lead to the return of the Luchasaurus name and a potential face turn for him. But if not, it might be considered a pointless swerve for the sake of a cheap moment. All in all, World's End was a down-the-middle pay-per-view with a few memorable moments. I'm right there with you guys, 6.5 to 7 out of 10. So with that being said, let's dive on into the first Monday Night Raw of 2024, day 1. Management wanted this to feel like an important episode, so it booked matches for the 2 top titles, the top men's title and the top women's title. Going into the show, Women's World Championship, Becky Lynch versus Nia Jax in a match over 5 years in the making, and Natalya and Tegan Nox squaring off against Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. So, nothing more to say here. Nothing else to say, guys. So let's dive on into Monday Night Raw from last night, day 1, and just bear with me as I get my my extra notes ready to go. All right. So, all right. I think we're just about set to go here. Okay. Day 1, Monday Night Raw, live from the Pachanga Arena in San Diego, California on the USA Network. And whoa, what's this? We actually started off with a match, not a talking segment. I'm shocked. Becky Lynch versus Nia Jax. Nia Jax wins the match in 11 minutes and 50 seconds. Whoa. No, I don't think any of us saw this coming. Wow, what a big win. Let's see. Even with a few sloppy moments, this match was fun and another good example of how Nia Jax has improved since returning to WWE. Becky Lynch can bring out the best in anyone, so it was not surprising that this was the best match Nia Jax has had during her second run here. So I'm going to give it 3.25, teetering on 3.5. So, and a surprise outcome. So Nia Jax, for me personally, probably since she won the Raw Women's Championship from Alexa Bliss at WrestleMania 34. It's been years since Nia Jax has had to win this monumental.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Total agreement on that one as well. Look, Nia did what she had to do. And she, they gave her an opportunity, what we could call a chance of a lifetime for her. And she made the most of that moment. So I was thoroughly impressed with Nia. Becky brought the best out. And I like the finishing sequence. I actually will not be mad about the finishing sequence because it was very apropos. They kind of went back to the original source material. Becky Lynch gets decapitated with a punch by Nia Jax, busting her open, and it led to the finish, and I am not mad about that finish. So yeah, it was well done. About a 3.5-star bout, and major props to Nia Jax for winning that fight. So nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, 3.5 stars. This was definitely the biggest win for Nia Jax. Those who were hoping for Becky to get some payback from what happened 5 years ago, that you didn't get it, but definitely, Becky really made Nia look good here. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. 3.5 stars, so let's move on, Florio.
All right, and we do indeed move on. And next up, in-ring segment. Cody Rhodes cutting a promo. And of course, he did it the only way he could. A new favorite routine of myself and Michael Bullock. So what do you want to talk about? So, and then Shinsuke Nakamura interrupts him, and they have Shinsuke does another one of those outstanding videos that he's been doing, one of those creepy videos that he's been doing, and next Monday night on Raw in Portland, Oregon, we get the return match. It will be Cody Rhodes squaring off against Shinsuke Nakamura. So nothing to really speak of there. It was just to set that up, to be honest with you. So, all right. Tag team action. The randomly thrown together tag team of Kofi Kingston and main event Jey Uso squaring off against the Imperium's Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci. Kofi Kingston and Jey Uso win the match via a referee stoppage in roughly 7 minutes. And guys, it was because of what happened to Giovanni Vinci.
Yeah.
MF, I know you want to shed some more light on that.
Well, there's not really much that to shed light on. Giovanni Vinci did actually get legitly hurt in the match. Unfortunately, the match did get stopped. This was not storyline, folks. This is one of those, unfortunately, a real life occurrence did happen. Obviously, our thoughts and prayers are with Giovanni Vinci for a speedy recovery. Very unfortunate that the match had to end that way. Could have it been better? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately for me, whenever an injury like this happens, I would suggest an NA rating.
Agreed.
A no rating for this. Like I said, but our thoughts and prayers are with Giovanni Vinci for a speedy recovery.
So gentlemen, I think we're all in agreement. So we're gonna give this an NA. So we will give this an NA, and we will just move on now to I'll just give a brief thought about it. Jey Uso and Kofi Kingston are two of the best individual tag team wrestlers in WWE and have a long history together. So they operated like a well-oiled machine without much effort. Putting them in the ring with a team as smooth as Imperium would normally be a guaranteed recipe for success, but the match came to a sudden conclusion after the doctor at ringside determined Giovanni Vinci could no longer compete. It's always good to err on the side of caution. So winning the match instead of having Kaiser tag in and continue was the right call. We're not going to rate this match. We all just hope Giovanni Vinci is okay. So we're just going to give it an NA here. So we move on. Then we had another in-ring segment. It was the Miz TV's segment. And his guest was the entire faction of the Judgment Day. And, well, it was supposed to be the Judgment Day, but R-Truth comes out. And, but then eventually two members of the Judgment Day, Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough, come out and interrupt. And it leads into a match. The Miz and R-Truth teaming up for the first time since they were known as the Awesome Truth back in late 2011. They went up against Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough. Miz and R-Truth win the match in roughly 7.5 minutes of television time. Gentlemen, I'm going to leave it up to you. Do you want to get into this or do you want to just move on? It's totally up to you guys.
I mean, the only thing that it was nostalgia factor to see the Awesome Truth. It looked like they did not skip a beat. But as far as the real in-ring action is, there wasn't really much to speak about. So for me, this is an automatic move on.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, MF. And I'm sure Bullock probably feels the same way. Let's see. This bout was not designed to steal the show. It was designed to provide a few laughs, advance the Truth Judgment Day story, and continue the babyface run for The Miz, and it worked. McDonough and Dom tried to trick Truth into hitting The Miz, but ended up leading to the A-lister hitting JD with the skull-crushing finale for the win. If I was pressed to give it a rating, I would say 2.5 at best. So there isn't much more to say. Then they had a vignette with Kaden Carter and Katana Chance celebrating their newly won WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, where they were interrupted by the former champions, Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. And next Monday night on Raw in Portland, Chance and Carter will be defending those WWE Women's Tag Team Championships in a return match against Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. So I know MF's probably thinking, "Oh God, I hope they don't screw them over." But we'll see what happens. So with that being said, let's move on to the first of our two big title matches, the Women's World Championship. Rhea Ripley defending the title against Ivy Nile. Winner of the match in an even 13 minutes, and still the Women's World Champion, Rhea Ripley. MF, I'll say it like this. The outcome was never in doubt, but boy, howdy, Ivy Nile, did she look good in her first main roster official match.
Yes, no, absolutely. Incredible matchup, incredible performance by Ivy Nile. But you're going up against the Eradicator. You're going up against Mommy. And look, give credit where credit's due. It was a great performance, but it's Rhea freaking Ripley, folks. The female wrestler of the year in 2023. So I think we all were in agreement on that one on the Talking Wrestling TXN awards that she was female wrestler of the year.
In the immortal word of LA Knight, yeah.
All right, then that's exactly what it was. So nothing more to say. Yeah, this was about 2.5 to 3, but yeah, nothing more to say. So Michael Bullock, it's yours.
I'll give this about 3.25 on this one. I mean, this was a good match here. I mean, definitely got to give Ivy Nile her due. I mean, in her first official singles match, she definitely hung in there with Rhea Ripley, but in the end, the outcome was never in doubt. I mean, Mommy's reign continues, so the question is now, who's going to be the next person, the next woman to challenge her? Only time will tell. So it's yours, Florio.
Yeah, I'm with Bullock once again. This was another 3.25, teetering on 3.5 for me. Even though both of these competitors are powerhouses in their own right, Rhea Ripley had a significant height and size advantage, so Ivy Nile became an instant underdog. This bout had a couple of moments of miscommunication that led to awkward moments and near botches, but they seemed to find their groove as the match progressed. Ivy Nile looked great once she started building up a head of steam during the second half, when she started hitting moves like a head scissor takeover and a tornado DDT. Dueling chants for both women turned into chants of "This is awesome" before Nile hit a German suplex from the middle rope. However, Rhea was able to block a crossbody with a headbutt before hitting the Riptide to get the win and retain her title in an entertaining performance that helped put Nile on the map. I'll even go as far as to call this the second best fight of the night. Give it about 3.25, teetering on 3.5. So, no question about it. All right. This was a segment that was teased. Raw ring announcer Samantha Irvin introduced the return of a former WWE champion, and after a long, awkward pause, that WWE champion turned out to be none other than Jinder Mahal, or as Kurt Angle, myself, and Michael Bullock best know him as, Jinder Mahal. And yeah, Jinder Mahal. Yeah, okay.
You would think at that particular moment, all the AEW marks were laughing at WWE and everything else, and there was a couple of moments where I think we all were kind of like eye rolling, like, oh man, Jinder Mahal, really? Oh no.
Oh, hold on, let Florio build it up.
Michael Bullock.
Yeah, just wait.
And MF, you're hearing this for the first time. MF is hearing this for the first time. Michael Bullock, what did I say to you during our Raw chat last night about this? What did I tell you during this?
There's more to this.
Yeah. I said, I'm like, no. Let me tell you something. Bullock was pissed. Bullock was legit pissed. I was legit pissed. But I'm like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. This is not Vince McMahon running things. This is Papa H running things. I know Papa H has got a surprise up his sleeve. And sure enough, my hunch was right. Papa H had a surprise. His one-time most hated rival, turned friend, frenemy, rival, what have you. But let's be realistic. They're boys in real life. They're super close nowadays. They're as close as brothers, thick as thieves. The People's Champion. One of the greatest WWE champions of all time, and someone that soon enough will be I believe will be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. We all remember last September when he and Pat McAfee made their surprise appearance in Denver on that Friday night SmackDown, much to the delight of good old MF Michael Fletcher. We all remember how much MF marked during that moment. Go back and watch that in MF's archives. And The Rock, it was like the man, every time he comes back, it's like he never freaking left. And he absolutely tore into Jinder Mahal. And let me tell you something, Bullock and I were dying in laughter during this because this was so freaking hilarious. I mean, that was Attitude Era Rock in so many ways.
And he coined a new phrase that he called Jinder Mahal. It was day one douchebag.
And then he did the classic thing with the fans. One side of the crowd said day one, and the other side said douchebag. And
as Michael Cole would say, that is vintage Rock.
And It's almost like MF's all-time favorite when The Rock did the same thing with the side with the one side and with one side saying "you are" and the other side saying "an a-hole" to Vince McMahon.
You're forgetting another thing, Florida, that we saw out of this. And when The Rock came out, Michael Cole was like, "Yeah!"
Oh, go watch that video on YouTube and put the speed to the lowest speed at 0.25, and you'll hear Michael Cole drown out that yes.
One other person who was kind of lost her mind was Samantha Irvin. Yes. She shot up like a cannon out of her seat. It was a couple of guys were like, "Well, sorry, Ricochet, I think you just lost your girl, bro." Oh man, you didn't have to do Ricochet like that, boys. Come on.
And that's and we already, and just like that, it didn't take long to have our first viral moment of 2024 right there.
Nope.
Didn't take long.
Didn't take long.
Surprised. But
I think our reaction is pretty prototypical, standard, as you can tell. The Corey and Sean drop, our jaws drop, we gasped. I was like, no way is he here. And then Anthony Florio with the biggest, oh my God, it's The Rock.
And it's not really a surprise because, I mean, there was a photo surfaced on social media earlier in the day of The Rock hanging out with the College Game Day crew. Nick Khan was seen in the background. So,
yeah,
that was pretty much a giveaway that he was coming.
And we were talking about it, me and one of the people from the 2184 crew, and he even admitted, he's like, "Do you really?" I was like, "It's a good possibility he could show up because look at this." I showed him the photo and he's like, "Uh-oh." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Where's the show?" I said, "San Diego." He's like, "That's Pasadena." It's possible. Can't guarantee it, but it is possible. It wasn't a possibility. It happened.
Yep. And then from there, and then after he absolutely tore into Jinder Mahal and took him out, he said, "I'm gonna go get something to eat." He asked, "Should I sit in a booth? Should I sit at the bar? Yeah, I love the bar. Or should I sit at the head of the table?"
Uh-oh.
We know what that means.
Oh yeah.
You know what? I'm just gonna open forum this. I'm gonna start it off. The Great One got a huge pop as he came out and greeted the fans along the aisle. He even stopped to take a selfie with a kid before getting on the apron to pose. This was the usual Rock segment. He said his lines, popped the crowd, insulted the heel, and gave him a new demeaning nickname. Mahal attacked him, but Rocky ended up getting the upper hand and hitting the spine buster, followed by the people's elbow. As he was getting ready to wrap things up, he referred to the head of the table, implying a feud with Roman Reigns might be a possibility. Other than the last sentence, the whole thing was a paint-by-numbers Rock promo, but that is what WWE wanted, and it's what works, so it's hard to be mad at it. And he basically called out his cousin. Called out his young cousin, Roman Reigns. And the rumor that I'm hearing, I mean, I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, WrestleMania." No. I'm hearing Elimination Chamber in Australia.
Yep.
That's what I'm hearing. Because from what I'm hearing, the plan is still for it to be Roman versus Cody 2 at WrestleMania. And this time Cody will finish the story. So that's what I'm hearing. So, but nonetheless, for me personally, this was the segment of the night. And there isn't much more to say on this. MF, Bullock, whoever wants it next, take it. But there's one thing for certain, gentlemen. Rock versus Roman. Again, not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And I think it's going to be the Elimination Chamber in Australia.
You can already call this moment of the year for 2024. Right out of the gate. We got moment of the year already. And that's how crazy this is. Because you're thinking, we got 365 days actually, no, isn't this year a leap year? So 366.
Yes. That's
So we got 366 days to work with here.
right.
And all of a sudden, boom goes the Dynamite, and we get The Rock. Day one. Are you kidding me? But he comes out, Rocky in his glory, and just absolutely gives us what we want. He fed us the red meat, and we ate it. We ate that up like it was nobody's business. And quite frankly, it was a great way to do it. It was a great way to start it. And I mean, already we're freaking out about how this played. And I cannot be any more happier with the way that this started. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say here. Michael Bullock, holy freaking crap. Dwayne The Rock Johnson blessing us on day one. And that's a mission statement that WWE is not messing around in 2024. They are going for the jugular now. They just smacked us upside our head and like, this is going to be a different year, folks. Get ready and buckle up. This is going to be one wild ride that they're going to be taking us in 2024. Thank God for Triple H running creative, because holy freaking crap, I don't think we would have gotten this bomb right out of the gate.
Yeah, you talk about, I mean, the first real moment of 2024. You get this, The Rock. I mean, what a moment. And I really loved how he went to town on Jinder Mahal. But yeah, I mean, and then of course laying the smackdown on that jabroni in typical Rock style. But the real moment was when he said, I'm thinking about maybe sitting at the head of the table. And you could just tell by the reaction. They know who they were referring. He was referring to Roman. And it looks like we're going to get it at Elimination Chamber. We've been hearing about it for so long. People have been clamoring for Rock and Roman Reigns. They're finally going to get it. And I cannot wait. And I'm interested to hear what the Tribal Chief has to say about all this.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I already know what the Tribal Chief said. Check his social media. He was laughing. He was laughing emoji. He thinks this is all fun and games. He's not taking this seriously. He's probably like, come on, Rock. Yeah, it just, nah, man, nah. Cute, very funny. Yeah, you want it head of the table. I mean, that's cute, cuz, nah, bro. You don't want this.
Yeah,
you don't want this.
But when The Rock finally confronts him, he's going to know for sure that this is no joke. That The Rock is coming for him.
Yeah.
And if Roman doesn't take the Rock lightly, he could be in for a long night. So we'll wait and see. But memo to you, Tribal Chief, do not take The Rock lightly, or you may not be walking out of Elimination Chamber with that title. And he just may lay the smackdown on you. And he may make a reservation at the SmackDown Hotel for you. So we'll see what happens. So let's move on, Florio.
All right. Women's tag team action. Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark squaring off against Tegan Nox and Natalya. Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark win the match, 5.5 minutes. I'm gonna take a wild guess here. I'm gonna take a stab in the dark here and say you guys probably want to move on from this. I wouldn't blame you if you did.
Yeah, move on.
Yeah. No doubt about that. I will say this: Natalya and Tegan Nox are both competent performers, but Baszler and Stark had a slight edge. The Queen of Spades brought her MMA experience to the bout, and Stark brought her power and agility. Shortly after the bell rang, the show cut to a break, so a large portion of this bout was fought during the commercial and picture-in-picture. Baszler and Stark picked up the win with a double-team combination. It may have been filler, but it gave Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler a much-needed win as they build themselves up to be possible future contenders for the women's tag team titles. So, 2.5. That's the best I could give it. We are most certainly going to address this. But before we get into it, announced for next week's Raw, CM Punk will be on the show. CM Punk will be in Portland next week. Cody Rhodes versus Shinsuke Nakamura. And Kaden Carter and Katana Chance defending the women's tag team titles in a return match against Piper Niven and Chelsea Green. Main event of the evening for the World Heavyweight Championship, the champion, Seth freaking Rollins. Whoa. Defending against Drew McIntyre. Winner of the match, 18 minutes and 5 seconds. And still the World Heavyweight Champion, Seth freaking Rollins. A whole lot to dissect out of this. Judgment Day got involved. Damian teased cashing in Money in the Bank, but Drew McIntyre actually had a hand in it. But at the end of the day, Seth freaking Rollins wins it, 18 minutes and 5 seconds. MF, your thoughts on the main event as Seth freaking Rollins, in your immortal words, still the heavyweight champion of the world.
Yeah, no, incredible main event. This was at least 3.5 to 4. If you are at the end of the day, this was necessary. The match was great. The body of work was incredible. Good action all the way through. For me, I'm happy with the outcome. The right man won. Seth Rollins keeps the title a little while longer. Yeah, I really got nothing bad to say about it. I thought they did a really good job with this. So, like I said, we'll wait and see how it plays out down the line. But no, this was at least 3.5 to 4. So nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, is yours.
Yeah, I'll give this about 3.5 to 4 on this one. I mean, this was a very good match. I mean, you had a lot of, yeah, I mean, with basically Damian Priest teasing that he was going to cash in his Money in the Bank, but Drew McIntyre put a stop to it, and Seth freaking Rollins took advantage of it, and that's why he's still the World Heavyweight Champion. So nothing more to say. It's yours, Florio.
4 to 4.25 stars for me. They have been building to this match for weeks, so this felt more like a pay-per-view bout than a standard Raw main event. They had the last 20 minutes of the show, so they had plenty of time to make this feel competitive and give both men a handful of standout moments. It seems redundant to say this was a good match. Everyone knows how good these two are, so nobody's going to be surprised to find out they worked well together. Both men came close to winning several times with some of the biggest moves, but they both seemed to avoid every attempt at a stomp or claymore. Eventually, Damian Priest came out to cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase, but Drew McIntyre hit him with a claymore before he had the chance. He hit Seth with another claymore, but when he went for the pin, Rollins got his foot on the bottom rope. Scottish Warrior tried to put him through the announce table with a visionary counter and hit a pedigree, and it allowed him to hit the curb stomp to win the match and retain the World Heavyweight Championship. 4 to 4.25 stars. So fight of the night, no question about it. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, let's get your overall thoughts on this day one, first Monday Night Raw 2024.
Yeah, I thought it was a good show. I mean, you had some good moments, but there were some moments I thought that definitely could have been better. But all in all, I thought it was a good show. I'll give this about maybe 7. 7. Yeah, 7. I think is the right rating. It's yours, Florio.
Agreed. It's somewhere between 7, 7.5. WWE hyped up this episode of Raw by giving it the day one name from a previous pay-per-view and advertising a big return and a pair of title bouts. The big return was The Rock, who received a warm reception, but ultimately will not impact WWE programming unless his tease of a match against Roman Reigns comes to fruition. Rhea Ripley and Seth freaking Rollins retained their titles in 2 fun matches. R-Truth and The Miz reunited and picked up a win, and Becky Lynch helped Nia Jax have one of the best matches of her WWE career. Even though this was supposed to be a special episode, it didn't feel much different from what we get every week. Sure, The Rock showed up, but that was all that set this apart. The rumored return of Andrade El Idolo to WWE did not happen, but that is probably smart, so his comeback was not overshadowed by The Rock. WWE is still producing solid programming every week, so hopefully we can expect that trend to continue here in 2024. 7 to 7.5. There's nothing left for me to say except my favorite words. Take us home, MF.
Yeah, no, this is it, man. This was a very good show. 7 to 7.5 out of 10. Great way to start 2024 if you're WWE, man. So now we gotta see how SmackDown does with the New Year's Revolution, and yeah, nothing more to say, Florio. Let's call it a night.
Yes, indeed, and that's indeed what we will do. So that will put the bow on this first edition of Ridiculously Raw, this special Tuesday night edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. As always, we will be back with you tomorrow night, 10:30. Only this time we'll be over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95, for the first Wednesday Night Madness of 2024, NXT New Year's Evil, and AEW Dynamite. Thursday Night Football is done. There will be no more Thursday Night Football previews, at least not until the month of September. So it's all about NXT and AEW going forward, unless we have to do a pay-per-view preview down the line. No show Thursday, and then Friday we're back with the Week 18 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday, headlined by the game of the week, the hands down main event of Week 18, the final game of the season. My Buffalo Bills versus MF's Miami Dolphins. Winner not only wins the AFC East, but will also gain the number 2 seed in the AFC playoffs. You want to talk about winner take all? That's really what it is. And that'll take place and in addition to the Week 18 game previews, we will also be previewing the College Football Playoff National Championship game, the number 1 Michigan Wolverines versus the number 2 Washington Huskies.
That will be the main event.
Of course it will be the main event. Absolutely. NFL comes first. So at the end of that show Friday night, we're going to have the 2 big main events. Buffalo and Miami for the NFL. And then, of course, Washington versus Michigan. Wow. A 1 versus 2 for the national championship in Houston. And we wouldn't have had that any other way. So we'll get into that Friday night. And then Saturday night, the Cerebral Smack Talk. MF will have that. Friday night SmackDown, New Year's Revolution, and AEW Collision. We'll get into that on Saturday. And then next Monday night, we'll be back in our traditional time slot for our first true Ridiculously Raw of 2024. As we continue on the road to the Royal Rumble, it'll be Monday Night Raw, special Tony's Take, as I'm going to be previewing the return of TNA Wrestling, their first pay-per-view under the returning TNA banner, Hard to Kill, that goes down on January 13. I will set the table for that pay-per-view come Monday night. So you don't want to miss that. So that's it. So until tomorrow night, for the first Wednesday Night Madness of 2024, over on MF channel Race Fan 95, this is Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, for the Phenom Michael Bullock, and in spirit, of course, always and forever, the First Lady of Talking Wrestling TXN, the Twisted Angel, Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up, Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Wednesday. And until tomorrow night, for Wednesday Night Madness, you've been watching the first Ridiculously Raw of 2024 right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and Streamy.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.